Hi, this is Patti Mohr with Mohr Media. I'm here with Spencer Hayes, who is a writer with our globaleconomicreport.com. And Spencer, you worked on two very challenging issues this week, one on Syria, one on Afghanistan. It's been a big week for you.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot in the news regarding both of those countries.
Let's take a look at your Syria story. Syrians face dire situation as clashes continue and UN Security Council preps for key decision. Spencer, tell me what's coming up in the Security Council. Why is this important?
Yeah, so starting in July 10th, the Security Council has to decide whether or not the humanitarian aid for cross-border relations within Syria is going to continue. The issue is that 90% of the people who require this assistance will no longer have access to the aid, food, shelter that they need once this aid is cut off. So it's a lot of high people within the Security Council, within the UN, within different countries urging for this to continue, because without it, these refugees are going to have no resources.
It's a very concerning issue. A lot of people, there's a lot at stake for a lot of people. I know Russia has a different point of view on this. You did include that information, but it's a little complex, so it's something we'll come back to. We'll look at when the Security Council meets and talk about that more. Well, you went from covering Syria, humanitarian crisis, to Syria, to a pending ticking time bomb in Afghanistan. I mean, I hope you do something over the weekend to lighten up your mood here after covering these serious issues. What's going on with Afghanistan?
So I think everyone, has paid attention to the news. We, as the U.S., have been in Afghanistan for over 20 years now, and we are starting to finally get the last of our troops out. The issue with us leaving, along with other NATO alliance troops, it's leaving the Afghan people vulnerable to continued Taliban, insurgency, war, and without, having some international presence there, there's a risk of continued civil war and humanitarian crisis.
Okay, let's take a look at your story. Afghanistan, a ticking clock as U.S. military NATO exit. I'm going to scroll through here. I understand you covered Security Council meeting recently, but you've also been following Afghanistan as part of your studies. You just finished your master's degree. I just want to point that out. So there are a lot of issues that we'll be continuing to follow here. One of the ones you touched on was the illicit economy that is supporting the Taliban and terrorists in that region. So let's come back to that over the next few weeks and dig in more. Let's take a quick look at a video clip from one of the people who you quoted, Ms. Deborah Lyons, Special Representative and head of the UN Assistance Mission.
What happens in Afghanistan remains, of course, of global consequence, and the Security Council needs to be fully informed of the gravity of the present situation. The mid-April announcement that all international troops will be withdrawn in the coming months sent a seismic tremor through the Afghan political system and society at large. The agreement generated hope that it would create the space for a peace to be made among Afghans. The foreign troops would be gone, and therefore, rather than fighting one another, Afghans would have the opportunity to come together and find a path for peace. But instead, actions on the battlefield have been far greater than progress at the negotiating table. Madam President, the Council has heard me speak of the continuous increase in violence over the past year, even as the peace talks began in Doha in September. The Taliban's recent advances are even more significant and are as a result of an intensified military campaign. More than 50 of Afghanistan's 370 districts have fallen since the beginning of May.
What new information came out of that Security Council meeting, and what's ahead?
Yeah, so with this meeting, what the biggest point that's trying to get across is that while, it's great that we're pulling our US troops out of there after more than 20 years, the speed at which this is happening is a lot faster than I think anyone expected, especially the Afghan government. And with this, the speed of how they're moving out, there's really concern about what's going to happen to the people with, the Taliban circling many territories around the capital. So I think with this meeting, it's just a lot of, evidence to what's going to happen, what could potentially happen over there. And hopefully, nothing horrible happens and that they're able to continue to keep their capital.
Well, I know you'll be following that and keeping our readers informed, and I want to thank you for that.